Our next speaker, Lee Silber, he specifically requested that he have no introduction because he said he didn't need one, which is quite unusual. But I think it is important we learn a little bit more about him before we wheel him out. Most interestingly is that Lee Silber started his first business at the age of 11, and it was quite ingenious. He repainted neighborhood mailboxes, and this young entrepreneur made nearly $1,000 back in 1976. But he's gone from that to today being a best-selling author of 19 books and an award-winning speaker. He's done so well that one of his former teachers recently remarked, "Never has one of my students done so much with so little." So this is a perfect segue to the topic of his speech today, which is using quick thinking and innovative ideas to improve what you do and to help those that you serve. So, before we meet Lee Silber, though, we must first go back to the future.
You remember me? Dr. Brown.
Take it away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know, I thought it'd be fun to go back to the future. Our previous speaker went way back. We're not going to go quite as far back. We're going to go to 1979. Do you remember where you were in 1979? I know a lot of you weren't born. I'm looking around. It's a young, hip audience. You weren't even born yet. But in 1979, I think it's interesting that passengers passed time on planes by drinking and smoking a lot, right? That's how they passed the time, which meant they were singing loudly, stumbling around, and vomiting. So the golden era of flying was not as golden as we remember it. You know, in 1979, Mick Jagger turned 37 years old. He also said, "I'd rather be dead than singing Satisfaction when I'm 45. He's 71, and he's still singing it, so that didn't make sense. Deregulation in 1978 changed everything. So in 1979, we saw the effects of that. It opened flying up to a lot more people. It also drove innovation, which I think is good. Competition can drive innovation. It's when we actually switched from pneumatic to electronic headsets that same year. But it was a good time to push innovation as it is today. In 1979, Wonder Woman was a role model for women. And most flight attendants in 1979 were women, but they were not seen as superheroes, unfortunately. So there was some exploitation going on at that point. In 1979, Air France had an idea. They were going to commission paintings and hang them in the cabin so that people would feel like they could have something to look at. Well, they still looked at the backs of their seats back then, so it did not work. In 1979, the first cell phone was served. So think about then to today and how important smartphones are. But back then, people were smart and phones were not. See, I thought that was funny. No, not so much. All right. You just never know. You can't tell. In 1979, you could expect to live to be 70 years old. Today, you can expect to live to be 80. And flying is actually safer now than it was back then. So we think about the past as this great time and how people would dress up to get on flights. Maybe not like that. Try and get through security like that. But 79, YMCA, the song came out. So it was big. The reason I went to 1979, it was when this expo was first held in Palm Springs. So yes, it's been 35 years. I can take this off now. So 35 years ago, that's what was happening. And I think what's interesting is what hasn't changed is people. People are the same, for the most part. We're busier now than we've ever been. This woman said, when I say I'm busy, what I really mean is I'm staying home so I can sit braless and watch Law and Order SVU. But people are busy. That's the difference. I think what's changed is speed and expectations, right? It's the me generation. They want what they want, and they want it now. And when we talk about the different generations, people talk about the millennials or Generation Y. People say, why are they called Generation Y? It's right there. You see it? You see the Y, right? These are the new travelers that we'll have to deal with. And these are answers on real tests. Where was the American Declaration of Independence signed? At the bottom. What is the highest frequency noise a human can register? Mariah Carey. What is a fibula? A little lie. Find X. Here it is. It's easy. That's our future. Yeah, I know. But we talk about the me generation. What it really is, it's the we generation. Everybody wants what they want and expects it now. And we talked about how you want to have what you have at home in the air, on the rails. It's the same. I mean, we expect so much. Everyone feels entitled. Even older people. When I'm old, I'm not going to sit around knitting. I'm going to be clicking my life alert button to see how many hot firefighters show up, right? Again, not funny. Okay, you just, tough crowd. But, you know, everything, as I looked at all the presentations that you're going to hear over the duration of the expo, most of them, if not all of them, involve technology, which is great. Technology, Wi-Fi, it's changing everything about the passenger experience. But we also have to remember it's about people. It's still about people. Technology is just a tool. We've got to focus on the people and how it can help us. Because what people really want is to feel something. They want to feel a certain way. And if you can make people feel good, it's good for business. And so Maya Angelou, who passed away earlier this year, had a great quote. She said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, people will never forget how you made them feel. So it's about using technology and all of the customer service things we know to make people feel a certain way. And what do people want to feel when they're traveling? They want to be relaxed but not stressed. They want to be connected but not disconnected. Comfortable, not uncomfortable. Pampered, not ignored. And they want, you know, as far as food choices, they want it personalized. They want it customized. They don't want to be marginalized. That's what they want. We can do that. We can give it to them. And I know you can, because you are doing great things. In fact, I would love for you to stand up and high-five 5 other people who are in this room, because what you do rocks. So stand up, high-five some people, because what you do makes a difference. So give it up. All right, that's what I'm talking about. This is a good group. Homer Simpson said he used to rock and roll all night and every day, then it was every other day. Now I'm looking if I can find an hour to get funky. All right, so I have 30 minutes with you, so we're going to get funky. And it's going to be short. Why? Because a girl was asked to give a book report about Socrates in 4 sentences. She said Socrates lived a long time ago. Socrates was very smart. Socrates gave long speeches. His friends poisoned him. Short speeches are better. So it's about what's next, using quick thinking and using ways to exceed people's expectations by acting quick and acting fast. And so I have all the slides. I'm going to give them to Hope and show, so you can sit back and relax. Where have you heard that before? And just enjoy it. So you'll have all the slides. Joan Rivers, who also passed away recently, said, if you're laughing, you're learning. So we're going to make this fun as well. So traveling, whether you love it or hate it, the time is the same. So obviously, we want to create ways to make people love it, where time flies. That's really what we're trying to accomplish. When you're having fun and getting things done, time flies. When it's not, it goes by slow. When they asked Einstein to define his theory of relativity where people could understand, he said, if you take your hand and put it on a hot stove, 1 minute feels like an hour. But when you're doing something you enjoy, 1 hour feels like a minute. So how can we get the feeling where it's like time just flies by? The experience went by like that. That's what we're hoping for. Now, when I travel, I like to take pictures of things to make time fly. So I'm a big person with my phone, taking pictures of things that I think make the time go by faster. So I've been collecting these. I saw this sign. It used to say no U-turn. Now it says no, you didn't. I like that. This one, if we can't make you look good, you ugly. This was in Canada. Who knew that moose could kick forward? I didn't know that. This just came, I just saw this. We have all your back to school supplies. A 12-pack of Miller beer for $7.99. don't know what to make of that. This is at Home Depot in, I think it was in Florida. Restrooms, you can do it. We can help. No, I can do it myself. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. This is in overseas. If you hit this sign, you will hit that bridge. Somebody still hits the sign, you deserved it. That's not right. This is in Canada. Tasty-ass crackers. I think they meant tasty assorted crackers. One letter could have changed it. This is in Washington State. What's the credit union? How did someone not see that? How about this? Buy a bed, get a free one-night stand. I'll take 2. Give me 2 of those. This is in Michigan. The turd burglar. And the slogan on the back of the truck said, your number 2 is our number 1. Anyone have a neighbor like this? Right? They're nice, but not really nice. Yeah. So time flies when I'm looking for these things to do while I'm traveling. So, we want to make it so we change our perspective. Focus on the passengers. You know that breakup? It's not you, it's me, right? That's what we say. No, it's you. It's really you. But when we shift the focus from our problems to helping others enjoy their flight and make their flight more enjoyable, we'll get away from us and get more into helping others. Time flies. And so you can have everything you need if you help other people get what they want. And so if we want to know what we can do for people, we got to listen. We got to listen to what they're telling us. All the surveys, all the analytics are great. We got to pay attention. Here's a good example of being a good listener. So a guy gets on a train after a long day of work. He's exhausted. He just wants to take a nap. So he sits down, he closes his eyes, and then this woman sits down next to him talking on the phone. Now this is her side of the conversation. Hi, sweetheart, it's Sue. I'm on the train. Yes, I know it's the 6:30 and not the 4:30, but I had a long meeting. No, honey, not with Kevin from accounting. It was with the boss. No, sweetheart, you're the only one in my life. Yes, I'm sure. Cross my heart. Well, 15 minutes later, she's still talking on the phone. So he reaches over the guy that was trying to sleep and says, Sue, hang up the phone and come back to bed. Sue doesn't talk on the phone in public anymore. But being a good listener is a big part of it. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them, says Zig Ziglar. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just paying more attention to myself. But we can figure out what people want. We just got to listen to what they're telling us. And what would happen if we gave people our undivided attention? We really listened to what they're telling us and paid attention to all the hints and clues. This is a good example. Yesterday afternoon, I was walking, holding hands with my wife. I suddenly dropped her hand and grabbed my cell phone to take this picture. She hit me in the chest and wouldn't talk to me the rest of the day. Last night, she asked me, how could you? I said, how could I not? It's not every day you see a dog driving a car. You see the dog driving the car? Right? You thought it was something else, didn't you? Yes. Make sure everybody counts and they know that they count because you're paying attention. You're listening to their needs. You're listening to what they're telling you. And it makes people feel like they count. Like this, I've got your back. No, really, I have your back. But that's kind of we want people to feel like we got you covered. So we don't want to make it seem like we know everything. And when we feel like we know everything, we don't learn anything. So I'm going to give you a true and false questions. True or false, the most popular online activity while flying is surfing the web. 5th is checking the news and weather. Is that true or false? It's actually true. And so it's kind of like Jerry Seinfeld said, people's number 1 fear is public speaking. Death is number 5. People would rather be dead than have to stand on the stage and give a speech, right? So people don't care about the news and weather. They want to just go play games and look at things online. But it's interesting. True or false, the United States is the most popular travel destination. It's false. It's France by a pretty good number, actually. True or false, the most popular PEDs taken on board a plane is a smartphone followed by a laptop. It's actually true, but it's so close. Laptops 38%, and then tablets 37%. So it's probably next year that'll flip-flop. But it's interesting. We think we know a lot, but we can always learn something. When you understand why people do the things they do, you can better manipulate them, right? Isn't that what we're trying to do? In a healthy way, to get them to like us and say they like us. My wife said she wanted something shiny that went from 0 to 150 in under 3 seconds, so I bought her a bathroom scale. And then the fight started. That's not what she wanted, obviously. And so we know so much about so many things, but isn't it true? The opposite gender, it's mystifying, right? We can never quite tell what's happening. We think we know what they want, right? Men want to put the seat up, women want to keep it down. You know, according to Conan O'Brien, studies show women are better communicators than men. To that, I only have one thing to say, duh, right? You know, the first protective cup was used in hockey in 1874. The actual first helmet wasn't worn until 1974. It took men 100 years to figure out their brain is also important. Right? A quiet man is a thinking man. A quiet woman is hatching a plan. Isn't this true? When men get together and socialize, they make fun of each other, but they don't really mean it. When women socialize, they get together and compliment each other. They don't really mean it either. That's a nice dress. It's hideous. Yeah. My wife and I were sitting on our boat. We're drinking wine, and she says, I love you so much. I don't know how I could live without you. I said, is that you talking or the wine talking? She said, no, it's me talking to the wine. So get to know the generations, the genders, as much as we can about people. The one thing everybody wants is respect. Aretha Franklin got it right. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. That's what people want. Everyone wants it. They want to know that you care about them, as we saw in that previous video where your name pops up. Hey, welcome to your seat, and it's got your name. I mean, those kind of things, it means a lot to people. They want to know that you care enough to remember their name or know their name or went out to get their name. What were the chances of Dingleberry being sitting right next to each other, right? It's classic. The other thing people want is thank you. They want a sincere and honest appreciation. Thank you is not to be underestimated, how powerful that really is. After you've given them the service, to thank them. It's a nice reminder. It shows you're organized, you're classy. Nothing bad comes from saying thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. We're going to reward you by giving other people's work to do. But most people want to hear thank you more than not. The message being sent today by most service providers is, we don't care about you. That's what people feel. According to USA Today, people feel like you don't care. And so this woman's right into customer service, and she said, first of all, you should know I am typing this with my middle finger. This woman said, I may look calm, but in my head, I've killed you 3 times. My goodness, that sounds like a big mess, sir. Unfortunately, I just realized I quit. Good luck with that. But that's because we're not getting great service. It doesn't take much to create a memorable moment for people. It doesn't take a lot to go from being, okay to being astounding and amazing. A friend of mine runs a credit union. He was at his desk. A man walked in with a bag of change, and all the tellers were busy. You could tell he was impatient. So my friend gets up from his desk. He's the branch manager. He says, can I help you? The guy says, do you have coin rollers? And the guy says, you know what? Just come sit down on my desk. I'll roll them for you. So he's rolling the coins for him. And then the guy says, hey, do you have money market accounts here? He said, sure, we have money markets. He says, I want to open for $100,000. You see, I just came over from my bank across the street. They didn't have coin rollers. And if you had just given me the coin rollers, I would have just rolled my coins and went back to my bank. The fact that you went that extra mile to sit down and talk to me and roll the coins, over time, he put $2.4 million into that credit union, all because the branch manager went a little bit above and beyond what other people were willing to do. It doesn't take much. To get people to do what you want, find people who want what you want. So we can't always brainwash people. We can try. Here's a good example. My wife and I were at a party. We're driving home, and I was exhausted. And I said, let's just check into a hotel. So for 4 hours, we took a nap. When we went to check out, we got the bill. It was $400. I said to the guy at the front desk, I said, are you kidding? That's too much. Don't you have a napping rate or something? He said, no, but we have an award-winning chef in the restaurant. I said, my wife and I didn't eat in the restaurant. He said, it was there and you could have. I said, but this is too much. Can't we find some common ground? Can't you give me some customer service here? And he said, oh, we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. I said, my wife and I didn't use the pool. He said, it was there and you could have. And he said, oh, and we have a state-of-the-art convention center. I said, my wife and I didn't use the convention center. He said, it was there and you could have. So I said, fine, here's $200. He said, no, you owe us $400. I said, yes, but I'm charging you $200 for sleeping with my wife. He said, I didn't sleep with your wife. I said, she was here and you could have. And sadly, that is a true story. So. Casey Stengel said, keep the people who hate you away from the people who are undecided. But we want to win people over. My wife works at Nordstrom, and their whole philosophy is find a way to say yes. So what are they asking for? Find a way to make it happen. My wife many times comes home late from work because she's dropping shoes off here or a suit there for someone after hours. At least that's where she says she is. She could be anywhere. I don't know, but that's where she says. So they go the extra mile. They find a way to say yes because we're surrounded by people who say no. All people here, your customers are no. We can't do that. No, no, no. If we can find a way to say yes, we could really wow them. You know, I went to a local 24-hour store, at least I thought it was, and on the door it says open 24 hours. But the guy was locking the door. I said, your sign says you're open 24 hours. He said, yeah, but not 24 hours in a row. Like, what? Do you see the irony of that? Yes is more. So changing our perspective to focus on other people, changing our perspective to focus on solutions. I mean, we shift from our problems to solving them, that mindset shift of, yes, everyone's got problems. How can we be the one to solve them? People pay for solutions. So if you have problems, that's a good thing. That's an opportunity for you to make money, for you to wow people, because that's what people want. Now, whenever I have a problem, I just sing, and then I realize that my singing voice is worse than my problem, right? See, that's not funny? Okay. I sat home last night, I'm like, this is great! No, not so much. But if you have time to complain about something, then you have time to do something about it. I think that's what we want to instill in our people. And so one airline, they have a thing where the pilot can put his gripes down. He wrote down, target radar hums. And the engineer said, reprogramming radar with lyrics. Pilot said, number 3 engine is missing. Engine found on right wing after brief search. See? Simple solutions, right? You know what? Here's a good example of how simple it can be to solve a problem. To avoid cutting yourself when slicing vegetables, have someone else hold them while you chop, right? Then nothing can happen to your finger. Simple, simple. There was a high school principal, and I guess the girls were putting on lipstick, and they would kiss the mirror. So at the end of the day, there would be hundreds of lip prints. And the janitor came to her and said, this is a real problem. So she said, I got an idea. So she got all the girls in the bathroom, and she said, girls, this is John, the maintenance guy. He has to clean her lip prints off at the end of the day, and it's really hard. John, show the girls how hard it is to clean the lip prints off. So he said, I take my squeegee every night, I stick it in the toilet, I rub it around, and then I squeegee off your lip prints. I've been doing this for weeks. After that, no one ever put their lips on the mirror. So we don't need a lot of money to solve problems. We just use our ingenuity. But people are so busy. We're so busy just going from task to task, running around just trying to get things done. We don't stop to think, is there a better way to do this? Or is there maybe something we could do differently? For instance, have you ever noticed, but we're too busy, but have you ever noticed that inside the logo of FedEx is something buried in there? Do you see it? You got to kind of relax your eyes and let the white show through. There's an arrow between the E and the X by design. But most people are so busy they never notice it. But if you look at the space between the E and the X and let the white show through, you'll see there's an arrow there, and that's by design. They move packages. How about Tostitos? Did you ever notice in the Tostitos logo there's 2 people? Now, I see it as them fighting over a chip, but you may see it differently. But there they are. Most people, though, when they're eating Tostitos, are drinking, so they don't notice it. But now that you're sober, allegedly, there it is. So how do we find these solutions? We got to get in touch with our inner Einstein, our inner genius, where anything is possible. When you were a kid, you probably used 64 colors of crayons, but by the time you're done with school, you're using 1 color ink or a pencil, the number 2 pencil. If the number 2 pencil is so popular, why isn't it the number 1 pencil? But anyway, I digress. We got to get in touch with that inner genius. And so a football analyst named Joe Theismann said, a genius is someone like Norman Einstein. Yeah, that's not right. But a genius is someone who looks at something that others are stuck on and gets unstuck. We all have that ability. Again, it started when we were kids. We just somehow kind of get back in touch with it. So if you think about Einstein and what made him great and what you have, I bet you could find some similarities. So look at that list. What do you see on there that you have in common with Einstein? What on that list do you also share as a trait? You know, Einstein wasn't such an Einstein. His relationships were a disaster. His office was a mess. So if you have a messy office, you can say, I'm an Einstein, right? So I give you permission to make a mess. But I'm sure you could find at least one thing that you have in common with Albert Einstein. And what he said is, I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. We can all be more curious. I wonder if there's another way to do that, or if there's a better way to do that. I think that's the question. If we ask it often enough, is there a better way to do this? We're going to generate more ideas. He also said, I believe in intuition and inspiration. I sometimes feel that I am right, but I do not know that I am. So trust your gut. Have you ever taken a test and you guessed at a question, and then you find you had a little time left at the end, you go back and review the question and let your logic brain now work on it, and you change it? What happens? It's usually wrong. We got to trust our instincts and our gut that we have a good idea. That first inspirational thought that popped in your head is usually better than the 20th when you have a lot of time to think about it. My dad was an idea guy. He would always say to me, son, you only need 2 tools, WD-40 to make things go and duct tape to make them stop. And sometimes I would say, my intuition would say, Dad, you know what? I like that idea. That's cool. You took an old soda bottle and you made a sprinkler out of it. That's cool. Other times I'm like, Dad, I think this is dangerous. I don't think this is safe. And then other times I would look at him and say, really? Is this who we are as a family? We're cooking with a shovel. Where'd you get the cart from in the first place? But he would just make things out of nothing. He was actually very successful. He was an idea guy. And so we got to be think quick ideas. So here's a good chance. In the last 25 years, who's the most innovative person that pops in your head instantly? Who comes to mind? I'm glad you said Steve Jobs, because if you didn't, this next slide would not work. But you're right, Steve Jobs, right? And you know what's interesting? Einstein died in 1955. Steve Jobs was born in 1955. And he's adopted, so I don't know, I'm just saying. But over these, since he passed away in 2011, you could see there's a void. And what he said about how you could be more like him, it's so easy. If you listen to these things that he said, first of all, kickstart your brain by doing something new every day. Habit and routines and ruts kill ideas. Always try and drive a different way to work. Try a new news station. Mix it up. Do something different every day. New stimuli gives you new ideas. He also said, focus on what you love no matter what it is. He dropped out of Reed College, but just started taking classes that he was interested in. One of them was calligraphy. Now, how could calligraphy help Apple become a computer giant? Well, he loved type and typography. So it doesn't matter. When you're passionate about something and you really care about it, you're going to have more ideas than if you're just mildly interested. So focus on the things that you really care about. He said, be obsessed with making things better. That's why there's an iPhone 6 right now, right? There's always a way, you think this is as good as it gets. No, we can always do a little bit better. He said, create insanely great experiences. The Apple Store turned retail on its head. It was so different than everything else, and now everyone's trying to emulate it, but that was his mindset. We got to make it insanely great. And an experience. And finally, pay attention to the details. Little things like the iPhones, when you pick them up, they would dim because you didn't need to see the screen. You were making a call when you put it to your ear. Little things that you don't think people notice, but we do see things. A lot of us, we're myopic. But where the passenger may be looking up and seeing dirty, broken, whatever, pay attention to the little things because they do matter. One thing that you can do that Steve Jobs did is when you're stuck and you can't think of anything, take your pen or pencil and put it in your non-writing hand and just doodle or write a list or whatever you mean. There's left-brainers, there's right-brainers, there's whole-brainers, there's no-brainers, right? But when you switch, it uses the other half of your brain. So that's a good tip from Steve Jobs. Also, get in touch with your inner Sherlock Holmes. He was so good at noticing things that other people missed. That was his strength. He said, you look, but you do not see. And so we've got to look at trends and what our competitors are doing and what other industries are doing to borrow, and I say that in a nice way, borrow ideas and apply them to what we do. Paying attention to the details is what most people, they don't spot the problems, and even if they do, they don't do anything. I think Sherlock Holmes was really good at not only noticing his observational skills and his deductive skills were insane. So I made this, and I put this quote there. The little details are by far the most important, but what did I do here that you notice that isn't right? There's something in there that maybe you would see if you really pay attention. What do you see? Yeah, he saw one of them. The glasses are, one's orange and one's not, and then it says Anaheim on the stem of the glasses. Anything else you see? Right. Coming up from the pipe is the date, September 15th. And of course, his membership. He was not a member of either of your organizations in 1884 because they didn't exist. But so we got to start paying attention to the smallest things because we can have influence over them. What we can do is to be more like Sherlock Holmes is every day be better at just noticing things that just other people they don't look up, they don't look down, they just kind of go straight ahead. Look at people, look at things, look at look around for ideas and get in the habit, make it a habit that you do it more often. You really look at people to notice things that maybe others don't see, and then use all of your senses. He would use his sight sense. He would have the magnifying glass. He's famous for that. But he also uses smell. We should use touch, smell, hearing, all these things to create the experience. Some airlines and some hotels are using scents to create a certain mood. Music creates a mood. All the senses, involve them all. And then have a safe place to store your ideas. He called it his mind palace, but we should write them down. We should all have an idea book where we put our greatest ideas in a book, safe. I mean, it could be a digital thing, but I think the old-fashioned writing an idea down is a good way to keep your ideas. Now, last year, or this year I should say, what is the most innovative product or service that came out that you could think of? What really wowed you this year? Something new that hadn't existed before that you thought was a really good idea. By the way, this is where you participate. Like, when does that start? Oh, it started. What's that? The Grill Daddy. I love that too. That's a good one. I don't know if I can even top that. This is the one I thought was good. It's called dust boots. You put this on your animal, and they run around the house, and they clean it instead of making a mess. Right? Brilliant. Genius. If we put these on the passengers, they come in and out of the plane and the train, they clean it all up. The last thing is to focus on the possibilities and positives rather than focus on what we can't do. But we've got to focus on what we can do, and when we do that, time flies. When we think about what's possible versus what's impossible, it makes a difference. And I think if we think small, I'm the author of 19 books, and I'm a big grammar person, although you may have found a typo in one of the slides, but I just hate bad grammar. And when people text, it annoys me with poor grammar. So I've been collecting good text. I thought this is a great text. How much do you love me? Well, look at the stars and count them. That's how much I love you. But it's morning. Exactly. Complete sentences. It's funny. It's good. So if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. So we can take care of the little things because we have the power over those. We think everything's so grandiose and big. The Gettysburg Address was only 262 words. Einstein used 10 digits to change the world. Michelangelo mixed 3 colors of paint together to create beautiful works of art. Beethoven used 7 notes to create amazing music. AC/DC does it with just 2 notes. A and D. Do the best you can with what you have. Don't wait for something to come along. A lot of people say, I'm going to get organized. It's called Zen organizing. It's where you think about organizing, but you don't do anything, right? I like to do what's called the shavunda. Sounds like a Yiddish term. The shavunda. No, it's someone's coming to your house, so you shove stuff under the bed, you shove it under the closet, right? You shove it under the carpet. At least things are moving. Things are going. There was an ad for a handyman. Everyone procrastinates, so this ad makes sense. I can do anything your husband can do, but I'll do it now. So if we can get things done, we impress people. Unfortunately, that's who shows up, but due to recent budget cuts, the light at the end of the tunnel has been turned off. See, we're always thinking, I don't have this, I don't have that. Don't be afraid of the light at the end of the tunnel. Go to the light, right? Yeah. Don't work for recognition, do work worthy of recognition, said Jackson Brown. One guy working at, it's just an employee working at a Crate and Barrel store. He packed the trucks that took the goods to the stores. He really put a lot of time and thought into packing it just so, but no one ever noticed. So on his own time, he made a big sign that said, packed with pride. And after every truck was packed perfectly, the team that packed it would stand under the sign, they took a picture of themselves, and they sent it with the bill of lading. And then he would get emails back saying, unpacked with pride. He was just a guy. It was just a little something idea. I found this he was on Oprah. He got promoted. It doesn't matter what your title says. You can still come up with really good ideas. And small ideas can be just as powerful as big ones. Vincent van Gogh said, great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. Now, he also was a little crazy, cut off part of his ear and sent it to his ex, which made me think, if I cut off a body part and sent it to every girl that dumped me, I would just be a finger. And you know what finger it would be. Exactly. Find small ways to create memorable moments is what we're trying to do. A family was dining at a restaurant. Their son, who has special needs, was making a ruckus, and they were embarrassed. They thought they were ruining everyone's experience. Well, when they went to leave, they got the bill, and it had already been paid, and the patron that paid it wrote this on the bill. He said, God only gives special children to special people. Didn't take much time, didn't take much effort, but he really made their day. Little things like that can really impress people. It makes you the best. Brian Wilson said, beware the lollipop of mediocrity. Lick it once and you'll suck forever. Is this good? It's good. Not great, but good. Right? We want to be great. We want to be the best. When you look to the person sitting to the left of you, the person sitting to the right of you, one of them or you is going to be considered the best, right? You want to be branded as the best. And so I think when Jerry Seinfeld said, I was the best man at a wedding, if I'm the best man, why is she marrying him? But we want to strive for that, to brand ourselves as the best. And you can kind of come up with your own slogan. This was the slogan for the IRS. We have what it takes to take what you've got. And then there's like these slogans that I wish they had. These are more accurate for Netflix. Spend more time searching than actually watching movies, right? Or the yellow pages. Here, you throw this away. You find it on your doorstep. What am I supposed to do with this thing? Victoria's Secret, lowering women's self-esteem since 1977. That should have been their slogan. People need faith in the future to gain power in the present. So you got to know where you're going to give you the confidence to get there. And so we could create a vision statement where we go online and just grab images of things that we want our business to do or we want for our personal life. You could find an image. I want to get ahead in my career. There's a picture for that. I want to make money. I want to have a nice car. I want to maybe remodel my kitchen. I want to spend time with my family. See, all these pictures more powerful than just the words. I want to spend time with friends. I want to have a better relationship with my coworker. But not that good. I think that's frowned upon. Yeah. And then you put this together, you add some music, right? And you create a little mini movie about your future. It could be about a product, a service, or your life. It's just much more powerful than just saying it or writing it down in a list. And then you could carry it around with you. You could show it to other people. People will go the extra mile if they know where the road leads. Now, people will give you 100% if they know what the vision is. This is how they do it, though. 12% on Monday, 23% on Tuesday, 40% on Wednesday. Thursday, they give 20%. Friday, they only have to give 5%. Add it up. It's 100%. But people want to know, where are we going? What's coming? How can I find my spot in it? And positive thinking will help you do anything better than negative thinking will, said Zig Ziglar. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you say to someone, you look like the first day of spring, right? That's nice. Or you could say, you look like the last day of a long, hard winter. You see the difference? Not so good. So we want to try and focus on the positives, make a change to be more positive. This woman's outgoing message said, I'm not available right now. I'm busy making changes in my life. Thank you for calling. Leave a message. If I don't call you back, you are one of those changes. Change your words, change your world. This homeless guy changed his sign to this: I bet you can't hit me with a quarter. And people were pelting him with money. Much better. He just changed his words. Oprah says, what you put out, you get back. And so when you smile, you got an upbeat attitude, you're all about possibilities, the world gives that back to you. Tell me you can't not look at this picture and at least crack a smile, right? You can't help it. So you are getting things done. You're superheroes, cleverly disguised as in-flight experts, but that's who you are. You are in touch with your inner superhero, which is great. Now, one last thing before I go, because I think what you do is amazing. The things that you do, the impact you have, most people can't say they affect that many people in a positive way, and that's what you do. Valerie Harper, an actress, found out she had inoperable brain cancer, and they asked her, what advice would you give to other people? And she said, don't miss your life. And I thought that was an excellent piece of advice. And I was traveling so much in the past, promoting my books and giving speeches, and just all the time I was on the road, and I was exhausted. And so on a flight, I got up, I was just going to splash water on my face. I was heading to the bathroom, and I don't remember this part, but apparently I passed out, hit my head on some equipment, and was out for a long time. When I woke up, the flight attendant was kneeling next to me with the defibrillator. I'm like, whoa, 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 I'm all right, I'm all right. But it was a wake-up call for me. And I mean, it's funny to quote Marilyn Monroe, but she said, everything happens for a reason. After I passed out, I went to my doctor to figure out why did this happen? And in the process of doing testing, they found something else. And so what the doctor said to me, he said, it's not good. And this was just a few months ago. So I found out that I have something far worse than just passing out. So when I decide what speeches I'm going to do, I've turned down a lot of things. I wanted to be here today because I really think that what you do makes a difference in the world. And so if I can help you in some small way, then that's how I want to spend my time. Jim Valvano was giving a speech. He knew he was dying of cancer, and in his speech for the ESPY Awards and the foundation, the Jimmy V Foundation, he said, if you think you laugh and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. And so my goal today was to impart some wise words, but also hopefully to give you a little laugh, a little levity, and help you do what you do even better. Because I think, you know, if I were to pick a group that I would want to spend my time in front of, you're the one. So thank you. I want to toast to you, so here's to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Silber, don't go. Respect.